Þá komið að fyrsta erlenda gestinum okkar, það Gerd Götz, framkvæmdastjóri Evrópsku álsamtakanna. Hann ætlar í erindi sínu að fjalla þau sóknarfæri sem að Ísland hefur þegar kemur að álinnanum. Mr. Götz, the floor is yours.
Dear Minister, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And I wish I could address at least the first sentence in your language. I gave a try, but I thought I'd leave it for the best of you. But there was a word I learned yesterday when I came with a plane to Iceland. It was Hörpu, and I learned that it means queen of the mountains. And when the plane approached the island, the view was so beautiful that I had the feeling I could really see also the queen of the mountains, or a very majestic island at least. So I'm very pleased to be here. And well, you won't expect me to speak about the mountains or the queen of the mountains, but what you can expect me to speak about is to speak about the queen of the metals, which I think is aluminium. When I was approached about 2 years ago, if I was interested to join the aluminium industry, I didn't know much about this material. And so I started learning, and I'm still learning about it. And I'm very happy to have also the opportunity, when being here, to learn with 3 of the most distinguished members of the European Aluminium Association some more essentials about the material. But there are a few really distinguishing properties of aluminium, and I was told that I'm not only speaking to experts, but also speaking to those who are probably in a similar situation than I was, or probably also still be, knowing a bit, but not too much. And so I think it's always good to have a bit of background. What does it make this material? Because we hardly see this in the product when it comes to us. Sometimes it's a mix, multi-material product, sometimes it's a pure aluminium product, but we see different brand names. So I think there are a few very, very important assets aluminium provides to our society, because we all see that things have to change going forward when the economy is further developing. I was looking into the footprint we leave as Europeans, as the Americans, but even also the Chinese, that is so big that if we continue doing this, we will come to some limits. So we have to look for substitution, we have to look for new ideas, we have to look for very innovative materials also, and aluminium is one of these. It makes vehicles lighter. I think you could all see this, and I'm pretty sure that we will hear much more about it. It helps to design and build energy neutral, maybe even energy positive buildings. It helps to save waste, and that's a topic I will come in a moment again. And especially it's part of a green energy production. So you see many other applications in engineering, electrical design, household. It's a huge portfolio that starts with the fact that if you come to Iceland by plane, yes, it's only possible because of aluminium. If you drive here on the roads and you want to consume less fuel, you need to have cars that are lighter, and so you need cars that have hopefully much more aluminium than the generation before. And I could give you many more examples of those. I think what is important to see is that if I understood the movie right, it was about the bauxite production, how it transforms into alumina, comes to the island here, to the smelters, and then it goes into a true circle, and an endless circle. And this is another fantastic property of aluminium. It's not waste, so you don't lose it. You can use it again and again and again and again. It goes into an endless cycle because it's with its properties in material that can be recycled. without losing, as with some competitive materials, if I may say so, their base. So you won't be surprised that 75% of all aluminium ever produced is still in use. Another reason why this material brings an added value for a green economy. It's still there in the buildings, in planes and cars, in applications, and when you dismantle, you can use it again. We had just a couple of months ago in Brussels 2 Boeings on the ground. They were not allowed to fly anymore. And guess what happened? There was a scrap dealer who bought these planes and who made a big positive business out of this, was just taking out the aluminium and selling the aluminium. So I think that's really a solution, and you won't be surprised then to see that aluminium is a kind of key player for the industry in Europe, with applications especially for mobile. You see this bar, this pink bar with a car on top of. This is probably the most important application area for aluminium mobility. So answering to many of the needs of our society today, be it with trains. Think about the trains with 2 levels, only possible because you have a material that enables the construction of these kind of trains, otherwise it would be far too heavy. You see other applications from packaging as mentioned, and of course buildings. Europe produces still 16% of aluminium, which is a slowly shrinking number, and which is surprising because what I gave you just in the last minutes was a growth story. And if you look at the perspective, right side of my picture there, you see that there are 5 bars that are four, all growing. This is a perspective given by experts towards the year 2015 that the aluminium production and applications will double. So I'm really talking about a market with a growing demand, which is great for these times where we see in Europe rather a depressed situation, and I'm happy when we have 1% or even a balanced economy. We predict that on average we will see a growth for the aluminium demand of 6% per year, so that's kind of extraordinary. And the reasons I have given you, the reasons, the innovation, the agile power of the material, you can go into new energy efficient solutions, you have you become a part of the green economy. So it's a strategic partner also for governments when they want to build a low carbon society, and that's why we partner also with the European Commission, give our commitments to contribute to a low carbon society with our members producing what is needed to bring consumption, for instance, for cars down, but also for many other applications. So, fantastic story. Yes, indeed, but not for Europe, because what you see here, if you take the EU, here I need to be very precise now, the European Union has for the first time last year imports more than 50% of aluminium, be it primary or secondary aluminium. So for Europe, a strange situation, growing demand, but shrinking production. What happens? I think I'm not here to talk about you what happens in the rest of Europe. I'm here to also give you an idea that this is a great opportunity for Iceland. Because when you look in more detail into the aluminium production in Europe, what you see is that under changed circumstances, regulatory circumstances, changing energy prices in Europe and contract circumstances, many of the production sites had to be closed in the last about 10 years. So we lost, and you see this in this picture, and it is normally my pretty gloomy story when I have to visit those countries, that production places are under threat because there's no predictability anymore to continue producing aluminium. What makes it so special? Well, if you decide one time to invest in aluminium, in an aluminium primary production, you don't do this for 1 or 2 years. I mean, it's not as you're just going on a green field, building a shaver factory, and after 2 years you have written off and you take it to the next country where you have better conditions. No, if you go to invest into an aluminium primary production, you invest 1.5, 2 billion euros. You do it not for 2 or 3 years. You're going there for a lifespan, so for a generation, for, I don't know, 25, 30, 35 years. So you have something on your ground which is there and will not move because of changing circumstances. But in some countries, the circumstances changed so much that this makes then an opportunity for those parts where the circumstances are stable and where you can offer the right environment for a production that supports the green economy. Here you see in the more precise example where the Icelandic production is multiplied by 3 in the last 10 years, whilst in blue, the EU 27 at the time were shrinking, as you could see, with all these black points on dots on that European map before. So what looks at the first moment for the EU as a pretty downbeat picture is for those who are able to provide the material to Europe a very, very upbeat picture, because, and here you see that after the dip in 2008, 2009, the production goes up even in the extrusion, which is sometimes a very critical business where you have products going also now in the demand high, and even more when you look at the market that's very closely linked. Well, FRP is flat rolled products. It was obviously too long, this word, to bring it on that slide. Rolled products means these are parts that you use, for instance, for planes, for cars, and for many other applications. And there you see clearly that we are already passed by the mark that was in the fantastic year of 2007, where we all thought that the economy goes up to the sky. So we are now again on a way up, and that's the perspective we can see. Material that is in high demand in Europe, not only in Europe, but also in Europe, and where the market is there, and where many parties are looking in an interested way how to deliver. And if you compare those who are keen to get their feet into the European markets, take the Middle East, they are strategically in an interesting perspective. They have earmarked aluminium as a strategic industry, and they can serve. You can imagine that there's not such a big home market for the Middle East with the production, so they can serve Asia and Europe in equal ways. And looking at the picture, I see that Iceland has a clear advantage. It's part of a market. It's close to that market, much closer to that market. It knows much better the needs here. So for me, this is the feeling I'm joining a group, member of our European aluminium industry, where we can look into a future with much more smile than in any other country in Europe I've been in the last months. And this is something probably you all anyway know. You have some key clusters for your industry here, where the economic growth is built on, and I can only look at the picture and compliment you for having made choices with sectors that have a brilliant future in front of them, where you don't need to get in a depressed mood like some other industries where you can really see here aluminium. There's a huge future ahead of us. The applications are there, the demand is there, I can only repeat the one slide I showed in the beginning, which gives you the perspective of a future that gives both an industry to further grow and an economy what it needs to become a really low-carbon green economy. And with this, I thank you very much for your attention, and I'm looking forward also to still see some of the places in Iceland in the course of today and tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.